So we have reviewed the 4 types of figurative language that we learned about when we read Hatchet, and now we're going to add in some new figurative language types. So the first type is called a metaphor, and a metaphor is very similar to a simile. A simile is comparing two things using like or as. A metaphor is comparing two things without using like or as. So it's the definition that I'm going to have you write down, if I can get my keyboard to work, is making a comparison to two or between two unlike things. And you're not going to use like or as, but you're going to compare two things. For example, life is a highway. Okay, so this is comparing life to a highway. Now, I did not say life is like a highway. I did not say life is as a highway. It's just life is a highway. And it compares the two things because you're saying life is very similar to a highway in that, you know, it is long, sometimes it has curves, sometimes it has ups and downs. So there are a lot of similarities. The next type is hyperbole. Hyperbole is knowingly exaggerating about something. So anytime that there is an exaggeration of something in literature, it is hyperbole. For example, the building was so tall it was touching the clouds. Okay, now we know that the building was probably not touching the clouds because that's impossible. But we get the idea that the building is very, very, very tall. So it is exaggerating. Now, an idiom is an expression or a figure of speech that cannot be made sense of from the actual words. For example, it is raining cats and dogs. Okay, so it's not actually raining cats and dogs. So if we're looking at the actual words, it doesn't make sense, but it is an expression. And when someone says it's raining cats and dogs, that means that it's raining really hard. So that would be an expression or a figure of speech. The next is really fun to say, and it's onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia are words that sound like what they are. So I think about things like in comic books, like when there's boom, crash, bam, things like that. That is onomatopoeia. So a word that sounds like what it is onomatopoeia. Alliteration is repeating the beginning consonant sound of words close together. So that beginning consonant sound in words like Susie found seashells down by the seashore. So when we have that repeated S sound really close together, that would be alliteration. The next type is a cliche. And a cliche is a phrase that is really overused. So it's not something, it's like a stereotype that is not original. For example, if in a story, you have the head cheerleader dating the football star, right? So that's exactly what we would expect to happen because that's a stereotype. It's really overused. The head cheerleader is always dating the football star. So it's definitely not original. That would be a cliche. And last but not least, we have a pun. And a pun is a joke that uses words with multiple meanings. So for example, a broken pencil is pointless. So we're using the idea of pointless. It has multiple meanings. So pointless meaning it doesn't have a point on it. get it, 'cause it's a broken pencil. And then pointless, meaning that, you can't use it. It's pointless. It doesn't have any use. So if a pencil is broken, then obviously it's useless. You can't use it. So because pointless has multiple meanings, this would be a pun. All right, so those are all of the new types of figurative language.